everyone, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Maddie. I'm a K-5 STEM teacher and ed tech coach from Los Angeles. I post weekly tech tutorials for teachers, and today's video is going to be all about one of my favorite ed tech tools, LessonUp. If you're looking for a simple platform that boosts student engagement but also provides flexibility and blended learning, LessonUp is the perfect platform for you. As a teacher myself, I am a huge fan of LessonUp because it meets so many of my classroom needs. And the best part is I can create lessons, teach, assess, and track student learning all in one place. And my students have so much fun too. And by the way, LessonUp is free to sign up and get started. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing how to use the LessonUp platform. So first, we'll take a look at how to create a lesson within LessonUp. Then we'll take a look at how to find existing lessons that other teachers have already created. And then we'll also take a look at the student perspective so you can better understand what teaching with LessonUp actually looks like in your classroom. Thank you so much to LessonUp for sponsoring today's video. And without further ado, let's get started. So right now we are on the LessonUp website. I just went to lessonup.com. And by the way, like I said, there is going to be a link in the video description down below for you guys to register and sign up. So LessonUp, as you see here, it's a free platform that anyone can use. So when you first sign up, you're going to receive a 30-day free trial of LessonUp Pro. So some of the pro features that are included within LessonUp Pro are creating a class, testing, reports, differentiation, and also sharing your lesson as homework or extra practice. Now, once the free trial of LessonUp Pro is over, you will need to upgrade your account to LessonUp Pro. Now, to register for LessonUp, you're going to click the button in the top right-hand corner that says register. Now, because I already have a LessonUp account, I'm just going to go ahead and click on the button that says log in. So I am now logged into the LessonUp dashboard. So the dashboard within LessonUp is called Explorer, and I kind of like to think of this dashboard as a homepage for LessonUp. So everything you're going to be needing to use is all going to be located within this LessonUp dashboard or this Explorer here. Now, one thing you'll notice is that under My Lessons, I already have a lesson created. So of course, if you're brand new to LessonUp, you're not going to see this design thinking lesson here. This is just here to show you that I've already created a lesson within the LessonUp platform. Now, the very first step to get started in creating your own lesson is you're going to click on this red button here that says Create New Lesson. Then you'll want to give the lesson a name. So my lesson that we're going to be creating together today is going to be called Engineering Design Process. Then I'll click OK. And you'll see that it's opened up this blank lesson for us to go ahead and get started and creating our lesson. So the first step up at the top is you'll notice that there's this gray bar here. So it says duration, school, and subject. So what I want to do is I'll click on choose under duration, and I'll choose roughly how long I think this lesson is going to take. Then under school, you can choose what grade level you teach. Since I'm an elementary school teacher, I'm going to go ahead and click on elementary school. Then for grade, you can get even more specific. Let's say that this is going to be a lesson for third grade. And then of course for subject, now you can choose your subject area. So something that's really cool about LessonUp is, of course, you can find a specific subject area, but if the subject that you teach isn't explicitly here, you can actually type in your own. So for example, I could type in STEM, and it's added this as a subject for me within LessonUp. All right, so the next step is we're gonna actually get started on creating a lesson here. On the left-hand side, you'll notice that there is this button here that shows these learning phases. So it looks like a little graduation cap. What's cool about the learning phases is if you're a new teacher or you're a teacher who's looking for a little bit of guidance, these learning phases actually help you create a lesson within LessonUp. So it kind of gives you some information for how to actually structure a high quality lesson within the LessonUp platform. So right now I have these learning phases on. It says click to disable if I want to turn it off. So you'll see that these learning phases here on the left-hand side are preparation, activating prior knowledge, reconnecting, sparking interest, We have instruction, practice, evaluation, and differentiation. So again, what's cool about this is it just kind of gives you some ideas for how to structure a lesson within LessonUp. But of course, this platform also provides so much flexibility, so you can turn these learning phases off if you would like. So if I turn it off, you'll notice now we just have blank slides, just like you might see in some other slides making platforms. So now what we're going to do is we're going to click on this plus button to start adding items to the lesson. So the first step is I'm going to want to create a slide that's going to be a title slide here. So I'll add some new content and I'm going to click on the button that says slide. Now I want to create my own. Now I'm going to show you this next part in a little bit, this button that says search in LessonUp. You can find slides that other teachers have already created within the LessonUp platform. But for now, I'm just going to click on this button that says create my own. So now you'll see here we have a blank slide that you can work with. So I'm just going to use this essentially as a title slide to show you guys some of these features for changing colors and stuff like that. But this is just kind of going to serve as a title slide. So my lesson is going to be called Engineering Design Process because we're going to be teaching my students about the engineering design process. So now that I've typed this in, you'll see that there are some different fonts I can choose from. So this pangolin font is kind of fun. I'll click on that and you'll see that I've been able to change the font. In addition to changing the font, you can also go up here to the top and you can change the font size. So if I want to make this a little bit bigger, I can also change the text color. So let's say I want to make this maybe this nice blue color. I do have the ability to do that. You can also change some of the other features of the slide, including the layout, the color, and the background. So right here, we're going to go up to where it says layout. So they have these pre-made slides layouts for you that you can choose from. I like this one here, but I did just want to point out that there are a variety of different layouts that you can play around with. Next, for the color. So this color here is going to change the slide background. So if I click on this yellow, you'll see that it's actually changed the background of this slide to be a different color. So I can play around with this, see which one looks nice with the font. And I think I'm going to stick with this nice black color. I like the contrast that's going on here. All right, so in addition to changing the color of the background, you can also add an image as the background. So right now, I just changed the color to be black, but if you wanted, you do have the ability to upload an image as the background. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. If we go here and click on the button that says add an image, there are a bunch of different ways that you can insert an image as the background of this slide. So first, you can upload a file directly from your computer, a JPEG or a PNG file that's saved on your physical computer. You can also search for an image that's already been uploaded to the LessonUp platform. You can search the internet, or you can take a photo on your device. Personally, I love the feature of being able to search the internet. It just makes it so much easier that you can actually search the internet or search Google Images within the LessonUp platform. So you don't even have to open up a new tab in order to search the internet. Then down here, you also have the ability to paste an image URL. So let's say you have an image that you found online. You can just paste that image URL there and click add, and it'll add it as the background. All right, so now that we've gone over some of these features, we're going to move on and start creating our lesson. So we're going to create a new slide here. So if I go again over to the left-hand side and I click on the new slide button, now you'll see that I need to add some new content. So I want to start off my lesson by sharing a video with students. And I want this video to play so that it's sort of full screen for students to see. To do that, I'm going to click on this button here that says video. Now to add a video, there are several different ways that you can do this. So first, you can of course search within the LessonUp platform, a really handy feature. You can also search the internet, or you can paste a YouTube or Vimeo URL here. I love that it just makes it so easy for you to paste a YouTube video link there. I'm always using YouTube, as you guys know, so I like that it just makes it nice and simple. I can paste a link and add it to my slide. So I'm going to do that right now. So I've pasted the link. I'm going to click the button that says add, and now it's been added to my lesson. So you'll see if we just exit out here, this video is actually set to be full screen so that it'll play on your computer or on the board full screen for students to see. Now there are a couple more features I want to show you about this video. So if we go back up to the top bar here, there are a few things to point out. So first, if you want the video to start playing automatically when you're teaching, you can go ahead and click this little button. You can check it so that it'll start playing automatically. I'm going to leave this unchecked, but it is a really neat feature for those of you who just want the video to start playing immediately. Now we also have this button here that says start. So as the pop-up tells us, this start actually allows you to choose the position to start playing this video. So let's say that you don't really like the video until, 6 seconds in. You can actually choose the start time so that it starts playing later on. So if I click on start, it actually allows you to specify the minutes and seconds for when you want the video to start. I personally want this video to start at 0 minutes and 0 seconds, so I'm going to leave it where it is and just click on the OK button. Now you can also do the same thing for the end of the video, so you can choose a position to stop playing the video. Then this next feature here where it says interactive, this is probably one of the coolest parts about LessonUp in my opinion. So you can actually make this video interactive for students. So what that means, if I click on interactive, you can add content to specific points in the video. So let's say that, halfway through the video, students are asked a question and you want them to respond to some sort of quiz, sort of like a check-in, checking for understanding. You have the ability to do that. So that's a really neat way that you can make these videos within LessonUp to be really interactive and engaging for students. So let's say I want to do that. I could say something like, let's just do a fun poll. I can create my own. And maybe I'll say, are you excited to learn about the engineering design process today? Yes, it sounds so interesting. Not really, but maybe I will learn something new. So this is just an example. Obviously, you can change the wording around. I'm just doing this for the purpose of the video. This is just sort of to show you that you can add interactive elements within the videos. So next we're going to go ahead and create another slide here. So back on the left-hand side, if I click on this new slide button, the next thing I want to do is I want to actually add a quiz for students to take after they've watched the video. So if I click on this button here that says quiz, and then create my own, I can now create a quiz question that students will all answer on their own devices when you are actually conducting this lesson with your students. So the first thing to do here is to enter your question here. So I'm going to say, which of the following is the first stage of the engineering design process? So for A, I might type in brainstorm. For B, I might type in prototype. For C, I might type in communicate. And then for D, I might type in define. So now, as the teacher, I can select the correct answer. So the correct answer is going to be D. And you also do have the ability to select alternative answers as well. Now, much like with the other slides, you do have the ability to change the background. So let's say I want to change the background color here. I can just go up to the top and click on color, and then I can set the background color maybe to this nice orange color. So you do have the ability, like I said, to change the background color as well. So after students watch the video, they're then going to respond to this quiz question to check for their understanding. I really like that LessonUp is a great tool to use for formative assessment. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to create another slide, and I want to have students think about and start brainstorming some of their own designs that they're going to be building in my class. So to do that, I think I want to have students create a mind map. Now, as a STEM teacher, I personally really love creating mind maps in my classroom, but what's neat about this mind map within LessonUp is that you don't have students all lined up at the board, waiting their turns to sort of like write on the board and stuff. It makes it really easy that every student will be doing this on their own device. So if I click on mind map and create my own, I can ask students for what they know about a certain topic. So I could ask them, what do you want to build for our project? And And then when I am teaching using the LessonUp platform, from the student perspective, they'll actually be able to sort of do a brain dump or create a mind map as a class for some of their ideas for what they want to build for our project. Again, you can change the background color if you'd like. Let's say I want to make this one green this time. So next I'm going to go back over to the left-hand side and I'm going to click on the plus button. There's a few more things that I want to show you guys, a few more key features. So now I just want to create a generic slide. So I'm going to click on slide again, and I'm going to create my own. And I want to show you some of the other really neat components that exist within the LessonUp platform. Components in LessonUp are essentially just additional features you can add to a slide. So previously we had been working a lot with the content of the slides by making different content full screen. So for example, like we saw with the video where it opened up full screen, with the quiz, the mind map, etc. Now we're just going to be focusing on adding components to a specific slide. So if we go up here to the top and we click on component, you'll see that there are a variety of different features that we can add to a blank slide. So we can add text, video, image, hotspot, symbol, table, audio, formula, traffic light, spinner, and timer. Now there are clearly so many different options here. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'd highly recommend when you do sign up for LessonUp that you actually play around with all of these features because they're really cool and they have so much application in the classroom. For now, I just want to point out a few that I think are really amazing. So at the bottom here we have spinner. I personally love using digital spinners with students. The way that this one works is if you click on it, this spinner can actually be used to call on student names. So as you just saw, I just resized it. I can just click and drag, and if I were to incorporate this spinner in my lesson, I could actually use it to call on specific students. So that's a really fun way to sort of boost student engagement and get students really excited about this digital spinner. Now to delete this spinner, I can just click on this little gear and then press the trash can button. In addition, there's some other cool components. So you can add a video. What's different about this video is it won't actually open up full screen. Instead, it'll just take up a small portion of the screen and you can resize it. So basically the main difference here between these components and the content slides that you saw before is that you can add multiple different components to a single slide. So you can add text boxes, videos, hotspots, etc. So now that we've gone over the components, we've taken a look at some content, it's time for us to actually get some more ideas for how we can teach using LessonUp. So if we go back to the dashboard and just click on LessonUp in the top left-hand corner, you'll see that we have my lesson here. It's in here within my LessonUp dashboard. Now I want to show you guys how you can actually search for existing lessons within the LessonUp platform. So if I go up here to the search button, I can search for lessons that other teachers have already created. So you'll see on my screen here, there's just tons and tons and tons of lessons within the LessonUp library. So we're talking tons and tons of lessons that you can use with your students. I love that they have this library because it makes it so that this is just such a great time-saving tool. Now, something else you'll notice is we actually have the lesson that I created within this library. So you'll see it's right here. It says I started creating it about an hour ago. So this lesson here has 6 slides currently, and it says that the subject is for STEM and for 3rd grade. So as a teacher, you can actually search for my lesson within the LessonUp platform. Now, of course, if you don't want your lesson to exist within this library, you do have the ability to make your lesson private. I've included my lesson in here just in case you guys want to try it out and use it with your students. If we go back to the main page of LessonUp, there's a few more things I want to show you guys. The next thing, so we've gone through how to create a lesson, and the next thing that we want to look at is how you can actually set up a class within LessonUp. So if I click on My Classes, you'll see that I've already experimented a little bit with creating a class. To create a new class in LessonUp, you're going to click on the red button that says Create a New Class, and then you're going to give it a class name. So I'm going to title mine EdTech Classroom Class, and I'll press OK. There are a couple different ways that students can actually join your class. So you can have students enter the join code, which you'll see right here, this class code, on the LessonUp app, and they'll be added to the class automatically. So that's one way that you can share this with students. If you go up here and click on primary school, if you're an elementary school teacher like myself, your students might not have an email address. So there is a way that you can add students if they don't have email addresses, which I personally think is really awesome. So you can add students to their class by entering their first and last names. LessonUp will actually generate passwords for you that you can print out for students. So let's say I want to add a student called EdTech Student 1. Oops. Then I can go ahead and add another one. Let's say I want to add EdTech Student 2. And I'll add one more, EdTech Student 3. So now I've added these students to LessonUp, and I can just go ahead and click the Add button to add those students to my class. So you'll see now that I have 3 students that have been added to my class within LessonUp. So I can go ahead and press OK, and my students will be able to join either using the class code, or I can print out passwords for them to use. Now we're going to take a look at the student perspective so you can better understand how you can actually teach using LessonUp. So right now we're going to look at how you can teach using LessonUp. So this is going to be an example of the teacher perspective, which you see on the left-hand side here, and the student perspective. So I have these side by side so that you can visualize what you're seeing as you're teaching, in addition to what the students are seeing on their devices. So for the purpose of this video, I am just going to be covering how you can teach this lesson live with students using LessonUp. You do have the ability, however, with LessonUp Pro to assign an activity asynchronously, meaning that you can share this with students for them to do at their own pace. But for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to show you what it looks like for a live teaching. So on the left-hand side, on the teacher perspective, this is what we've been looking at this whole entire video. I'm going to click on the lesson, and the first thing I want to do is I want to actually teach this to a specific group of students. So before I press this teach button, I want to choose the group that I'm going to be teaching it to, or the class that I'm going to be teaching it to. So we just created this EdTech Classroom class, so I'll click on that. And now you'll see on the right-hand side, this student is already logged into LessonUp, and they've just received a notification on their device that says the lesson is about to start, would you like to join? So the students can go ahead and click on the yes button to join the lesson. Once all of the students are in, you can then begin giving your lesson to students. So here it says engineering design process. I can give a little spiel about what I'm going to be teaching that day, and then I can move on to the next slide. So here you'll see that we have the video. Now before I mentioned that this video was going to play full screen. Now because I have my screens, sort of these windows side by side here for you to be able to visualize both perspectives, the video doesn't really look like it's full screen even though it actually is. So when you do this lesson with students, this window will actually take up your whole screen, so the video will play full screen for students. So as the teacher, when I'm ready, I can go ahead and press play. And now you'll see that there's this notification that pops up for the teacher, and it's reminding students that they need to join. Now you'll see that I only have 1 student logged into my class. That's just for the purpose of this video. You of course would want to wait until all of the students in your class have joined before you begin the video. So I'll click next since I'm ready to go. So here first, before the video even begins playing, remember I created this interactive poll. So the poll says, are you excited to learn about the engineering design process today? So the student can go ahead and respond to that poll and say something like, yes, it sounds so interesting. And you'll see that the student has responded to the poll. Once all of the answers are in, you can then move on to the next part of the video. You can also see responses with student results. So then students can go ahead and watch this video. By the way, if you haven't seen this video, I highly recommend it. It's such a great way to teach students about the engineering design process. All right, so next we now have the quiz. So on the board, you will be projecting what you see on the left-hand side here, which says, which of the following is the first stage of the engineering design process? Now, students can go ahead and click on A, B, C, or D, depending on what they think the correct answer is. So let's say I choose D, and let's see, I selected D, and that would appear to be the correct answer. So the student receives a yay notification on their screen. There is also a ranking. Now, as the teacher, you do have the ability to actually get rid of this ranking, so you can uncheck this box if you don't want that to appear for students to see. Now, the next question here is, what do you want to build for our project? So as this is the mind map, so students can type in what they want to build. So I can maybe say a bridge, a tunnel, an airplane, and you'll see that student results are starting to appear here on the screen. So students do have the ability to type in as many responses as they would like. As the teacher, you can give a verbal cue to students to only submit one if that's what you would like, or you can provide students with the ability to brain dump tons of different options. Now, as the teacher, when I click see the results, I can press show all words and you'll see all of the student responses. So that's kind of fun for students to be able to see all of their ideas up here on the board. So now that the lesson is over, I can go ahead and press the X to stop the presentation. So in today's video, we looked at a bunch of different features within the LessonUp platform. So I showed you how you can create a lesson within LessonUp. I showed you how you can create a class within LessonUp. I showed you how you can search for existing lessons that other teachers out there have created. And then of course, I also showed you last the student versus the teacher perspective. Thank you so much for watching today's video all about how to use LessonUp. If you're excited to get started, if you think this platform is as amazing as I do, be sure to click the link in the video description down below to sign up and register for free. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you back here soon. Bye, friends.